Duke Nukem, a video game icon back in the early 90s. Duke went around rescuing babes and killing aliens in what many regard as the best first-person shooter at its time, Duke Nukem 3D. In June of 2011, the true sequel to 3D was released, and with so much hype, the fans just wanted more of Duke. Before we talk about the game itself, we have to talk about the journey from 1996 through to 2011. Only briefly though, as we have to cover the game itself. Work on Forever began just a year after the release of Duke Nukem 3D and continued for many years as 3D Realms postponed the release date. In 2009, 3D Realms had to downsize their staff due to financial issues and lawsuits with their developer, Take-Two Interactive. The game was then passed on to Gearbox Software to develop the following year. Finally, in 2011, we received the next big entry into the Duke Nukem series. With such massive hype, the gaming community was expecting massive things from Forever. And when they got the final product, they all gave it bad reviews and scores all around. Personally though, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone reckons. However, it is far from a perfect game. Now let's dive into the story. It has been 12 years since you last defeated the aliens from taking over the world and your babes. And they want to do it all again. Duke Nukem just won't stand for his babes being kidnapped and must do something about it. I know what you're all thinking, the story is stupid. Hell, even I think it's a bit of a shitty story.
What about the game, Duke? Was it any good?
Yeah, but after 12 fucking years, it should be.
But the good thing about Duke Nukem is the story doesn't even really need to be there. It just guides you along through the levels. This game is just so full of personality and a sense of humor which is barely matched by any other video game. Graphically, the game doesn't look too bad, but it does have a lot to be desired. The textures just seem a little off on most character models. Mouths and lip syncing were far from perfect as well. Level design is a lot more linear than in Duke 3D, but it isn't so bad that you get bored. The weapon models are just basically polished HD versions of the weapons we all saw in Duke 3D, apart from the new ones, but they're kinda shit. Gameplay is your typical first-person shooter. I played this on the 360, so left trigger to look down the sights, right trigger shoots, etc. Base buttons are used to switch weapons, reload, melee, and jump. Like I said, your typical first-person shooter control scheme. Most of the game takes place as an FPS, and personally, I think the whole game should have been like this. However, to appeal to the modern FPS audience, they needed to add little bits that make it more diverse. In Duke Nukem Forever, they added platforming, driving stages, and even puzzles. This all sounds great on paper, but it just slows the gameplay down for me. I played Duke Nukem for a laugh and some solid first-person shooting. Not to get stuck on simple weight problems for over a fucking hour, because I cannot find one single barrel. Fuck, I was so close to throwing my controller through the TV at that point. Cheap deaths happen a lot too. This usually happens when you have no idea how to kill enemies and you just get overwhelmed. And the absolute worst fucking part of this game is the long fucking load times it possesses. That is the biggest problem and my only real hate for this game, the load times. Cheap deaths and loading screens every time you die makes for a very fucking angry gamer. As soon as you pop the game in, the music starts blasting on the main menu and the next thing you know, you have a fast-paced rock song with one of the catchiest fucking riffs playing and it won't leave your head for hours. John St. John reprises his role as Duke, saying some lines from the past and even adding some new ones, and they'll all just sound absolutely mint. Music in the game isn't memorable at all, but you'll be hearing the same slow, dull loop on the loading screens that will just make you want to blow your brains out. All the weapons you have sound unique and sometimes even brutal. Example, the Ripper. It just tears enemies apart with its rapid fire and it just sounds absolutely beast. Big, massive, loud. I love the sound of the weapons in this game, if you can't already tell.
That's one dead Space Marine.
I remember playing this on release and getting my ass kicked in a Duke match. Duke Nukem Forever's take on the whole deathmatch thing. But yesterday going into multiplayer, I tried searching all game types for almost half an hour, and it looked like there was no one playing this online. On the Xbox anyway. Which is kind of disappointing as I was keen to get back into multiplayer. All in all, I'm guessing after such a mixed review you want my thoughts on the game. After its long and shifty development cycle, shitty puzzle sections, cheap deaths and long load times, you would think I would absolutely hate this game and wouldn't recommend it at all. But the game has some sort of charm. I grew up always having Duke 3D on my PC from when I was about 6 years old, so I've always had Duke in my life. The game is funny, it is dirty, it is essentially a man's game made for men. And I just love the vibe I get from it. So I say yeah, I would recommend this game only if you can find it for an extremely cheap price, as it easily fills in about 10 hours with the story and it pays out on the achievements. I am Nathan, and this has been a Lazy Saturday review. Hope you enjoyed it.